This video is sponsored by the Ultimate Freelancing Bundle by StudyWebDevelopment.com, which gives you everything you need to start your own freelancing business, including a 130-page in-depth guide, invoicing and client proposal templates, website templates, an SEO checklist, and much more. Visit the link in the description and use the code BRAD25 to get 25% off. Hey, what's going on, guys? So in this video, I want to take a look at creating custom VS Code snippets. And I'm going to show you a really nice tool, a snippet generator that makes this easier for us. So this is the documentation. If you just search for VS Code snippets, this will be the first result. And basically the way it works is you can create snippets for a specific language, or you can create global snippets that will basically work in every file. Now down here you can see the format of a snippet. So basically it's in JSON format. We have the snippet name, in this case it's a for loop. We have the prefix, which is going to be whatever you type in for the snippet. So we would do like for in this case, and then enter or tab, and then it would create the body. Now, the body is going to be either a string or an array. If it's a single line of code, you can put in a string. However, if it's multiple lines, such as this for loop, then you're going to have an array, and then for each line have a string. Okay, so you can see there's 3 lines here, so there's 3 values in this array, which can be kind of a pain in the ass to type out. So that's where this snippet generator that I'm going to show you comes in, and you don't have to worry about creating the array. You can just put in your code and it will generate it for you. Okay, and then we just have the description. Now, there's also things like tab stops, placeholders, choices. I'm going to show you guys this stuff as we move along. But this is the generator that we'll be using. It's at snippet-generator.app, and basically you can just put in whatever code you want and it will create your snippet for you. And not only does it do VS Code, but it also does Sublime Text and Atom. So it's a really nice tool. I'll put the link in the description. So first thing we want to do is jump into VS Code, and we're going to be creating a snippet file for JavaScript. Now you can use any language you want. Just go ahead and open up the command palette with Command-Shift-P on a Mac or Control-Shift-P on Windows, and just go ahead and type in, or start to type in snippet, and you'll see this preferences, configure user snippets. Okay, once you hit that, you'll see you can create a new global snippets file or for a specific language. You can see there's tons of languages here. There's even like template engines like Jade or Pug. So we want JavaScript. So we're going to choose right here, JavaScript. And it's going to open up a file called javascript.json. We have our opening and closing curly braces with some comments in the middle that kind of tries to explain to us what to do, but it's actually pretty confusing. It's not enough information. So let's get rid of all the comments here. And before I jump into the tool, the generator, I'm just going to create a simple console log snippet right in here. All right, so we want to put in a snippet name, which I'm just going to call console log, and we want to set that to an object. And in this object we want to have our prefix. So our prefix is what we actually want to type. I'm going to use CL. Now you have to kind of be careful here if you have other extensions. For instance, I use this, I don't create custom React snippets because I use this right here, ES7 React, Redux, GraphQL, React Native snippets, and it gives you a whole bunch of snippets. So you want to be careful that you don't use the same prefix that some of your extensions use. Okay, you might run into that issue. So I'm just going to use CL here for console log, and then we're going to put in our body. Now since it's a single line, it's just a simple console log, I'm going to put in a string. We don't need an array because we don't have multiple lines. So it's just going to do console.log. Now once we run CL and we get console log printed out, I want my cursor to end up within the parentheses, because obviously we're going to want to put something in there to log. So this is where tab stops come in. So if we put a money sign in 1, that represents the first tab stop. So that's automatically where it's going to go. Now you can have more than 1, and we'll do that in some of the other snippets. If we had another one like 2, it would end up at the first tab stop, and then we could do what we want here. If we hit tab again, it would automatically go to the next one. And I'll give you an example of that in a little bit. But that should do it for the console log. We just need to add a description, and this description will show in the IntelliSense when you start to type out the prefix. So let's just say output, or we'll just say console log. You want to try to keep it short so that it actually shows the text. So let's save that, and we'll go back into our JavaScript file, and I'm just going to do CL and not press anything, and you'll see that it's showing up right here. So we have CL, and then it shows the description. Okay, so I can either select that with my mouse, I can hit enter or tab, and it gives me a console log, and it puts my cursor right inside of the parentheses. Okay, if I were to move this $1 to the end here and then try it, CL, now you can see my cursor's at the end, which isn't what I want. So let's put that back in there. Okay, so simple enough. And as your snippets grow in code, I mean, it gets a little more complicated to type out inside the body. So this snippet generator, it comes in very handy. So the next one I want to create is just a named function. Okay, so if I want to do like function some name, and then like that. So I want a snippet to just create that. So let's go into the generator, and the description is going to be placed for the snippet name and the description. And I'm just going to say named function. And for the tab trigger, this is the prefix, so whatever we want to type, let's just do NFN. Okay, and then for the snippet, I'm going to do function. Now here's where I'm going to use a placeholder. So this is going to be a tab stop, but I'm also going to put some placeholder text. So for that, we want to do a $, and then we want to open up some curly braces. We want to put the number for the tab stop, so this is the first tab stop, and then colon, and then we can put a placeholder. So I'm just going to do function name. Okay, and then we'll put our parentheses, and let's go ahead and put our curly braces. Now the first tab stop has a placeholder. However, I want to add a couple more, because once we're done naming the function, we might want to add a parameter. So let's put in $2 to make that the second tab stop, and then in the function body we'll do $3. Okay, so let's copy this snippet, and let's go to our javascript.json file, put a comma here, and then paste that in. Okay, so we'll save that, and now if I do NFN, you'll see we get named function, hit enter, and now we get function name as a placeholder. However, it's highlighted, so I can just simply delete it, and I could do like get user, and if I hit tab, it goes right into the parentheses. So I could put like ID. If I hit tab one more time, it goes into the function body, and I could return ID or whatever it is that I'm going to do. Okay, so you can set those different tab stops, which is very helpful. You can also create default values. So let's do one for arrow functions, okay, for a named arrow function. So we'll go back in, and I'm not going to do, like, I have a common JavaScript file that I use. I'm not going to do every single thing. I'm just going to do a couple different ones to show you some of the capabilities of what we can do with snippets. So let's do arrow function. We'll just call this ARFN, and let's say const, and we're going to want some kind of name for our arrow function. So let's just do, again, curly braces 1 colon, and then we'll say function name, and let's set an equal sign. We want our parameters, and this will be the second tab stop, and then our arrow, and then we'll put in some curly braces, and we'll make this the third stop. And we'll copy that, go back, paste that in, and now if I do ARFN and hit enter, we get our function name, which I could just easily change. Hit tab takes us to the parameters. We could put ID, tab again, goes into the body, and it's simple as that. Alright, so the next thing I want to look at is choices. Okay, so we can actually have a drop down of choices. So what I want to do is create a snippet for array methods. So high order array methods like for each, map, filter, reduce. There's tons of them. Those are some of the more common ones. So I'm going to call this, let's say, array method. We'll use ARRMTH. All right. Now, for a choice, basically what I want to be able to do, let me just show you real quick. Let's say we have an array called people. I want to be able to do dot array method and then hit tab or enter and have it give us choices of for each, map, filter, things like that. So let's create that. So we'll say money sign, because it's going to be the very first thing is going to be whatever the method is. And the way that we have choices is we first put our tab stop, which is 1, and then double pipe character. Okay, and then in here we can have different choices. So we'll do for each. Let's do comma, map, comma, filter, reduce. We'll do sum, and any other ones that you want. All right, and then after that we want to put in our parentheses, because it's going to be, you know, something dot, whether for each, map, or whatever. And then inside here is a callback. Okay, so I'm going to use an arrow function. So I'll put in parentheses, and I want this to be a named tab stop. So I'm going to use money sign 2 colon, and I'll just say param. All right, or actually, let's do item. That makes more sense. So we'll say item, and then let's put an arrow, open some curly braces, and we'll put in our third tab stop. Okay, so let's copy this snippet, and let's go back, paste it into our javascript.json. And we'll go ahead and say, let's pretend we have an array called people, and we'll do .arr. You can see it pops up right here, array method. We'll hit that. And now we have a choice of all these different methods. Okay, so I'll choose map. We'll hit tab. Let's say we want to use person here. Hit tab again, brings us into here. And we can do console log. Oops. And console log person. All right, so that's how you can add choices. So let's do another example. One that I find handy is for Axios. So Axios is an HTTP library that allows you to make, you know, GET requests, POST requests, PUT requests. So what I like to do is create a preset, or not a preset, a snippet that will give me the choice of the different methods to use. So let's do Axios request. I'll call it AXREQ. And the way, if you haven't used Axios before, we just do Axios dot and then whatever the method is. So if we want to make a GET request, POST request, and so on. So what we can do is put in our tab stop with some choices of GET, POST, PUT, and delete. All right, so once we do that, we want to put in our parentheses, and let's put in some quotes, and then we'll put in a label here, or a placeholder. So this will be the second tab stop, and we're going to do colon and then URL, okay, because this is going to take in a URL. And then Axios gives us a promise back, so we'll do the dot then, and let's do dot catch. Move that over. Okay, so this dot catch, let's just take the error, and we'll just do a console.log error, and then for the data, the response that comes back, we'll just console.log the res.data. And you could do whatever you want here. If you want to put another tab stop here, you could do that, but I'll usually check and see what it gives me back anyway. So this is a pretty common snippet that I use. So I'm going to copy this and paste this into our JavaScript JSON. Okay, so let's say we want to make a request, so we'll do AXREQ, and now I can select GET, POST, PUT, or delete. Okay, so if I say GET and then hit tab, it'll highlight the URL, so then I could change it to like API/, users or something like that. All right, so the last one that I want to create is one that I use quite often, not so much in tutorials, but on my own, is an Express server, just a basic Express server where we bring it in, we initialize it, we set a port, things like that. And we can use choices and placeholders and stuff. So let's change this to Express server. And if you're not familiar with Express, don't worry about it. You don't have to understand what the code actually does. Just understand the placeholders and stuff like that. So let's call this EXP-SRV, and we want to bring in Express. So we want to require Express, and let's initialize our app variable to Express. And then I'll create a route, and this route, it could be, you know, handling a GET request, post, or whatever. So I'm going to use a placeholder here, or a choice here. So I'm going to do app dot, and then let's do money sign, curly braces, and this is going to be the first tab stop, and then we'll put in, we want to put in double pipes, and let's do get. So this could be get, post, put, delete. There's others as well, but these are the most common. So it'd be app dot one of those, and then we'd want the route. So in here, let's do, we'll put our quotes, and then we'll do, this is our second tab stop, and let's say route. Okay, and then we want to put in arrow function here, or a regular function, whatever you want to do, and we need a request response. And then I'll make this the function body, or the route body. I'll make this the third tab stop. Okay, and then we need a port to listen on, so I'm going to create a variable called port. And what I'll usually do is set it to process.env.port, because we want to check for a global port first, or then we need to pick a port. Now here I'm going to use a choice as well, because some people like to use 5,000, some people use 3,000, 8,000. So I'm going to put in a choice. So this will be 4, and let's do 3,000, 5,000, 8,000, and 80. Those are pretty common. Okay, and then down here we want to take that app variable and listen on that port, and let's just put a callback here and just do a console.log with some backticks and say server running on port, and then we'll put in our port variable. So that's a pretty common snippet that I use. And you can see over here, if we were to put this all in the body like this, it's kind of a pain in the ass to use all these quotes inside this array. So I really like this tool. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the snippet, and let's put it in our javascript.json, and we'll save it. And now if I want an Express server, I can just do exp-srv. Okay, so it's first it's gonna ask what type of method, HTTP method, I want to handle here. So I could say like get. If I hit tab, it'll take me to the route. Let's say we want to handle API/users. Hit tab again. I could do something like res.send whatever, my user. And then if I hit tab again, it's going to bring me to the ports, and I can select a certain port. Okay, so I'll say 8,000. All right, and then I could save it, and I have my Express server instead of typing all this stuff out. All right, so hopefully you guys can see the value in creating custom snippets. And again, there's tons of extensions that have snippets as well if you want to look into that. And it's pretty easy to create your own extension if you want. Actually, I have a video. If I remember, I'll put the link in the description where I show you how to create a custom VS Code extension with some Bootstrap snippets. Okay, so that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I do want to do some other videos on productivity and speeding things up. I want to do a video on shortcuts so that you don't have to use your mouse as much. Just things that can help you guys become better and faster developers. But that's it, guys. If you like this video, please leave a like, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, one of the best, if not the best resource I can refer you to for starting a freelance business is at studywebdevelopment.com/freelancing. The creator Kyle shared it with me, and I can personally vouch that this bundle is well worth it. You get a 130-page guide to freelancing, and it comes with things like invoice templates, client proposals, HTML and CSS templates, a portfolio website, access to a private Facebook community, and much more. So use the code BRAD25 to get 25% off today.